Hello everybody and welcome back to Highland Fishing on Kinlaig. So we are continuing on from the last episode of getting this soybean field done, and it should be the last of the harvest, bar we've got some grass to cut up there before the winter, which we do need to make some hay quite desperately. We have emptied the trailer just off camera, so that's now empty, so we should be able to get the remainder of all these soybeans in. And whilst we're doing this, one thing that probably would be very handy is to buy some pallet forks for our load all. And I'm very tempted, well, I say I'm very tempted, I don't quite know what's, we'll go for the bog standard one, we'll get them, buy them. I don't quite know what to do with our smallest JCB, which is the 150 horsepower. Personally, for nostalgic reasons, I love it. I really like it. But for work-wise, it's not really a tractor that we can put on, on a worker, because we tried that once with the cultivating and it didn't work at all. We have had him on a roller and that seemed to work, but if we're limited to what jobs he can do, then we're a bit stuck. Especially because we've got the other JCB, which that's the one that, all honesty, I'll be using more. Well, I use the majority of the time because one, it's got a front loader on like the smaller one, 230 odd horsepower, and it's quicker. So I don't know whether, because we've got the JCB, whether we should sell that one. Which, if we look on here and go small tractors, 30,000, so we may get 40,000 for it. We also have its front loader and pallet tines to sell, so we could get up to £50,000 by doing that. Anyways, it's all food for thought, so I'm going to very quickly get this field done, and then I presume we'll have some roof shingles to take over to the castle to help that progress, because we've missed out on a month or two because we didn't have them. And that's the end of our second harvest at Kinlaig. So once we get this last little bit emptied in, we will want to make sure I don't miss any on that side. We will go put the header onto the header trailer and we'll go get this sold, because there's no point keeping it to depreciate any more than what it's going to already. We also need to, there is a bale down in the trees down there. We need to make sure that we don't forget that. It's not going to be worth a right lot of money, but there's still some money to be had there, and it would be silly just leaving it there to rot away. What would be quite nice is I've heard a lot about, was it in FS19, there was a mod called Seasons, and your bales, if you left, like me leaving those bales out like that, they would rot away and then disappear. I've heard a lot about that mod. I'd love if it was back, well, if it was in 25, like to the point I almost downloaded or bought FS19 just to play with Seasons and see how what everyone thought about it. I think if you're not running precision farming, something like Seasons would come in very handy, or it may even come very handy with precision farming. Obviously for myself, I don't know because I've never used it. But right, we're going to get this down, and we might as well go this way, down to the shop, and we'll see how much we can get back for it. So after we sell this, I am going to, I think, set the new Holland on doing some grass work. I've got my markers turned off, but it's there, so that's alright. So let's repaint, repair and sell the header. Says 25,000, let's say. Let's repaint and sell. Yes, we'll say 25,000 for the trailer and the header. Let's repaint and do all this. So we're getting 100 odd thousand back. We have obviously spent some money, but we've made, well, yeah, 100,000 back. So we've actually made money doing, well, we made a lot of money doing that, and it was well worth repairing everything. So if we go, we'll get into here and we'll tip this into our silo. So we've got wheat one side and we have soybeans in the other. What I am interested to know is our big shed where we've just tipped it on the floor. If we were to tip the soybeans in there, would it realise we've put soybeans, put onions in the middle, and would it avoid putting the soybeans there? That was something that it crossed my mind of whether it would associate and realise what's going on. Right, this up to here, and then we'll get this tipped in, and then whilst that's doing that, we need to then go find the New Holland, which is just there. We are going to have to take the front weight off, so that can go just there. And we'll go get the mowers on. Like I say, I'm going to do the whole field as hay. It makes the most amount of sense. I think the best time for us to do total mixed ration is when we've got a big barn to be able to do it, a big cow barn. So, right, it's over there, which also means that we don't need to use that grab because we're not doing silage bales. So with the silage bales, I think it's the right way personally to do it. Is if we're just moving them, we can't puncture the bales, but if we're moving them to use them, then yes, we can puncture them, because obviously they're going to be used. They're going to be used straight away. It's not like we're putting them into storage. So right, let's get this up here. I'll have to bring up the menu, which it won't tell us whether it's swath dropping or whatnot yet, because we need to be unfolded, which now we're here we can do that. And I presume it's them bits at the back when they are up. So let's go control. I presume when they're both up, that's wide spreading. So let's set a worker on doing that. We can then go, this will need, oh, that needs emptying and needs loading, but the pallet tines are down. The pallet tines are down at the down at the dealership. If we then, thinking out loud, if we drop that off there, if we go get the flat bed trailer, which is, I can't remember where I put that now. Did I put it over here? Yeah. What I'll do is we can then go and put the cultivator on the back of this. I'm hoping this will link up. Yes. Although not ideal. If this links up, we'll go put the cultivator on. We'll sell this little cultivator that's in there, so we'll get that sold. We can pick up our pallet tines, and then we can go over to the stonemason to pick up our roof slates. So that's job one. Probably overhanging a bit too much, but that'll be okay. It's probably time then to look at getting a proper bale trailer, especially if we're going to be leading it round with the JCB. The only problem is I'm not a big fan of the one that comes base game, but we could have a look while we're at the store, because this trailer has been brilliant, but is it getting to the point now where it's just too small? I don't know. We'll have to have a look, see what we've got, especially if we're going to be towing it with the telehandler. See there, our back wheels up, so we may sell both of these. So for the second time, let's make our way into here. I have found what we're going to buy. So I did have a quick look. So we are going to sell this trailer now. I think it's done its job brilliantly for us. And, well, 3.9 hours use on a trailer. So let's repair the cultivator, which that's only had 1.8 hours. I don't think we used it at all. It was just the worker using that. So let's sell that. This trailer, let's repaint and repair. We'll sell that, and then what I'll do, we'll leave it as a little surprise. I'll jump into here, and as we go around the corner, you'll see what we're going to buy. My only worry with it being a British map and tight corners, that it's not too big, and that we can pull it with this, because I don't know. And there we go. So we've got the, is it Pong bale trailer? So obviously we're sticky with round bales in this Let's Play, or at least that's what my thinking or intention was. So that's why we've got these curved front and back guards. If we do change to square ones, then it's very easy for us to change. But right, please fit. Yes. And that, both wheels are on the ground working perfectly. So the next thing for us to go do is to go down, get to the quarry. This should be a lot easier to load up with than the tractors. We'll go load up with the roof shingles. Is it roof shingles? I can't remember. And we'll get them up to the castle, and then that can then continue to progress in its building stages. So I don't know how much we're going to get for these roof slate shingles, whatever you want to call them. Tiles is what I would call them. Yeah, I don't know how much we're going to get for these, so it's going to be very interesting for 6,000 litres. And also, I don't seem to have ratchet straps, so I do want to do a bit of a test, because I do like to have... we're going to have to get the markers back on. I do like to try and have... When it comes to tools like this, we don't have universal auto load. So off camera when I'm doing stuff, just to try speed things up and go on. That's £31,000 ish. To speed things up, I do like to use auto load off camera, which obviously I put auto load onto this, which I don't know whether that means you lose your ratchet straps because it's just thinking you're going to auto load. So anyways, we're going to get back to the farm and we're going to go give that we'll give it a trial, and we can put some seed on it on the trailer or something and see what happens. So I've just picked up those 3 seed bags from down near the cow enclosure, and let's give this a go. So when you put it into operating position, it does not work. So that must be wholeheartedly down to that it just does bales. But if we move into here, let's find the trigger wherever it is. There we go. So we jump into the trigger and get onto here. Let's customize. So let's take the auto load off and customize that. Now if we jump into here and put the trailer on, yeah. So we're going to keep it like that then, because I want to make sure with the straps, because otherwise we're going to have to buy another trailer to move pallets around. Especially with that, we should be able to get a few more on it. So the next job that I think needs doing is we can turn beacons off, and we need to find the New Holland, which I always want to call it a John Deere for some reason. And we need to get that on with the tedder, because what I would like to go and do is go put oilseed radish in the sorghum field, and by the time I'm doing that, if this teds, we can windrow and bale it, hopefully all at the same time, and then that would be a very good way, I would imagine, to finish this episode. So instead of leaving these out in the open, I imagine, can we get this under the shed? trying to figure out why they weren't under the shed to begin with. So we'll put that one there, and then if we spin round we could put the front one there as well. It's just a shame we can't get that windrower in, otherwise that would be in as well. Right, so let's drop this one there. Let's get our tedder on, and then like I say, this can ted whilst we go do the drilling of the oilseed radish, because in that field, so the soybean field, that's going to be either onions or potatoes. I think it'll probably be better going in potatoes because we can top and lift all at the same time. Whilst if it's onions, we're going to have to lift and windrow them, then go over and lift. So I think for the size of it and the speed, it'd probably be better doing it that way. The field that we bought in one of the previous episodes, that's going to go into onions, which I do think we need to buy ourselves another field at some point. But right, let's drop this down. And where did we leave the cultivator? I don't know. And that's bleeding. You can see the soybeans are bleeding through. I think when we sell this, what I'm going to do is, I don't know whether, with me messing around with the yard, have I lowered it? And then that's the reason why, because obviously the stone's there. Have I lowered it? And is that why they're bleeding through? So I may just raise it. I'll see if I can raise it ever so slightly and see if that fixes the problem. But it's one of them, I don't know. So, if this is going in potatoes, what I want to have a look at is when we just finish this last little bit, obviously we'll have to cultivate it all out again once the oilseed radish is in, but that means we get a somewhat free fertilising state. So we'll just get this little bit here that I missed. So let's get that. And there is another way that I think we can get free fertiliser. Well, not free, obviously. You've got to pay for everything first. But have I just? I turned off the. Let's lift that up, and we'll just turn around and redo this. I turned off the drill, thinking that we'd already drilled it, don't need it on, and obviously it's gone straight away back into cultivating. So let's turn that on and let's go back through this bit, and hopefully it will rectify the problem, although I've now missed a little bit more. So let's lift it up. Let's just go out over to this side like so, drop it down, it's still turned on. And let's get this bit. Brilliant. So that is now all done. Yeah, I was just thinking then that if we go to What will it be? Vegetable planters? Is it this? That creates your rows, and by creating your rows, I'm sure. What about potatoes? Sure, you could use something like that in 22, of where by doing that you've got a free fertilizer state. I'll have to look into that. We may rent it to put the ridges up, and then we can put potatoes in and then just see. And if it does work, then I may look at buying it, because it's all, as you're probably saying, I do try like to do things on camera sort of as realistic as possible. Obviously there becomes a point where it's like will not benefit the video very much by doing too much, but something like that where you can just put in the background, you know, we could do a little bit and then the rest you could just put a worker onto it. I don't think doing that's too bad. Obviously, especially we're making that much money at the minute, that it would help us out loads. Anyways, we now want to go get our baler, because the worker up there finished the tedding and they are now on doing the windrowing. So if we put this on, we can follow behind getting these bales done. So if we put that on, it's got some straw, so hopefully that'll convert, and it should be 150. Yes. And I would like to just have a look here that these where's water? Water's fine. Chickens are still fine, but they'll want some food next month. We do need to get some onions thrown in. Wood we can do in a day or two, and fish food in a day. So when we move on into next month, that's when we've got a fair bit to do, just odds and sods jobs, which I try do them if I can in one episode, because then I know that the next 2 or 3 episodes you know you've got them done and out the way. But right, where has our windrow started? Please say started on the middle first. Oh, that's awkward. Why would you start on the headland? It just means that we're now going to put bales in the way. Right. Has that dropped down, or has that just unfolded? There we go. So I better get this. Has he missed a load all round the edge? Let's just keep an eye on our hay. Yeah, look at that. If you look at where it says hay, we're picking up loads. Well, not loads, but enough there. So we'll do one lap round the outside, like so. Get this in, and then we'll have to do the headlands. And then I don't know whether we'll have to move them with the pallet tines just before we can then go and bale the centre of the field. Otherwise the worker may have a bit of a hissy fit with us. So my plan with the hay, this will keep us going through the winter, so we can get another layer of fertiliser put on here then leave it. But the hay will keep us going through the winter, and the silage we can look to sell that come December, January time, just to bring in a bit more money for us all. And then eventually, when we can afford a new cow barn, which I'm thinking it's going to be next year, so at the end of next harvest, once we've bought, because obviously I want to get a combine, which we're not going to go silly with a combine, but I'd like to get a bigger one than we already have. So yeah, that's the next big purchase, and then once we've got that, we can look for something, you know, for an appropriate cow barn. But obviously I want to stick with an English style one. Right, I'll just get these little bits here whilst they're there. I'm really missing the extendable pickup width, because you never miss all these bits like this. You know, it just made the job look tidier. But we'll gather them up next time we come to Windrow or out like that. They'll be there for us. That bale's been hit by something, because it shouldn't be that way around, but that's no bother for us to sort out. And I'll empty this into the sheep enclosure, because there's no point. It's only, what is it, 67%, so there's no point keeping that up here, especially if it's in here. So let's empty that there by pressing O, which I think I said before, that should really be base game, you know, that you have a bale that you can get out. Because I always remember one of the first times playing Farming Simulator, decided to go do a cotton contract, and I couldn't complete the contract because I had too much cotton left in the harvester, so I couldn't get the bale out. So, which was rather annoying, and that was playing on console. So obviously when I then went to have to cancel the contract, it charged me an absolute fortune, you know, and I'm there going, well, I haven't actually earned anything. But anyways, so we need to make a decision of what to do with this tractor. You know, there's some money there for us, but I think that'll be in the next episode. We may look to sell that. It's done 10 hours, which 10 hours in real life is absolutely nothing, but 10 hours in this game is a fair amount. But yeah, I don't believe we need it anymore, because in my opinion this tractor's going to be just staying in the yard. But now we've got the load all, we don't really need this one. But anyways, so all that's left to say is thank you very much for watching. I hope you've all liked and enjoyed the video, and I will see you again in the next one. Bye for now.